Hello, I am gonna do my music investigation. I have my notes down here, so I'm gonna be looking down in the corner. So my topic that I chose was orchestra, and I'm gonna do it for the ages of first and second grade or second grade. It seems to fall into that range. My cat. So the classroom environment will pretty much look the same outside of occasionally moving tables and chairs out of the way to give room for movement. I think we're gonna make our own instruments at one point. So marching around, just kind of giving space. And then I also want to have pictures of the instrumental families, family groups around the space, and it'll tie into the lesson plan that I have. And then, yeah, I'll just give a brief. I think how I'll start out the lesson is giving a brief overview of how the orchestra originated, which was in ancient Greece, and it was kind of in conjunction with, in combination together with the actors. It kind of told the story and kind of led the story. And then the orchestra, and then I'll go in and talk about how the orchestra is made out of the four groups, like I mentioned, the brass, the strings, the percussion, and the woodwind. And then I'll give examples. So like the brass is like a trumpet or a tuba. And again, I'll have like visual aids for this. Strings would be guitar or cello. Percussion would be piano and snare drum. And then a woodwind would be a flute and a clarinet. Sorry, he's very needy right now. And then I will ask if anybody plays an instrument or has ever seen an instrument in person, because I'm sure for some students they haven't, unless they grew up around music. Or I had a piano in my house because my mother played, but I know that that's a complete privilege that not everyone would have. So I'd love to ask that, then ask if they have ever seen an orchestra play in real life. And then from there, I want to show them a clip of a real life orchestra. So I don't really know what clip I would use, if it would be something from a while ago or if it'd be something more modern, but playing something, from Beethoven or something like that. But it would be probably classical because that really contains, and probably smaller too, if I can find one that's smaller, just so we don't have to get too expansive. But I can show exactly where the percussions are and the strings are, and just showing their designated spots. It could be big, I don't know. Maybe I'll show both and then show the difference. And then I will ask them if they've heard of a composer, and wait for their answers and see what they say, if they even know what that is, or if they could point them out in the video. And then tell them, who a composer is, which a composer is the person at the front of the band, the ensemble, the whole orchestra, with this big wand. And the wand is, of course, called a baton. And, he's the one, they are the one who control the sound, whether it be like the softness of it or the loudness of it. They tell when the orchestra to play, when to stop, and I'll of course show an example of that in the actual video, which will be really fun to see. If they can spot it, maybe we'll watch it again and we'll spot the differences then. And so yeah, later on in the week, that I see this being like a 5-day thing or a 4-day thing, just being able to allow space to really dive into an orchestra and music, allow lots of space for questions and all of that. So, but later in the week, I would like to make our own instruments out of found objects, which in my newsletter, I talk to the parents about actually bringing in those found objects and being able to have like coffee tins and oat milk tins, and being able to have like beans. We can make a maraca. I think somebody in class suggested that, so appreciate that suggestion. And then being able to make guitars, like bring in rubber bands and tissue boxes and things like that. So lots and lots of options, and I'll let the kids choose whichever instrument that they want to make. And I'll also include myself. I'll bring crayons and markers and paints so they can decorate them however they want. And then after that, there'll just be a lot of space to be able to actually play with them. Lots of open space, a lot of time for creativity. and expansive learning of like, what does a sound like when like you pluck the rubber band really hard or when you pluck it soft. Just kind of getting really, really deep into the open-endedness of the activity and allowing their own, what's the word I'm looking for? Introspection to happen, just curiosity. And let's look here. And then from there also I want to dive into the emotion of it, like the emotion that music brings up for people. So I'll also be showing the children some clips of movies where like the score behind it, and we'll talk a lot about the score, how the score is, you know, the orchestra behind, or rather the music that goes with the movie, and it's the one without the words, and it kind of like plays in the background similar to the original original orchestra that played along with the ancient Greece actors. It also plays along with the actors in the movie. And so it also conveys like tone, and we can talk a lot about that, as well as, showing, basically just like asking them after every clip, which I have a few clips planned out, like one from like Buzz Lightyear, like Toy Story, how he's flying, falling with style, and seeing what they categorize, like what do they label that emotion, like when they watch that scene, like what do they feel. That's kind of how I'll phrase it, and then see what they come back with. And then similar with like a Star Wars scene, and I have a few other movies planned out, just to kind of range it from like excitement to maybe sadness, joy, fright, something like that. Just seeing what emotions come up and seeing how they can really learn how to label how they feel, kind of getting that kind of the self-realization of like emotions and the language behind it, being able to explore their language around it. Okay, so let's look here. My learning objectives for this are to turning on children's awareness of rhythmic patterns. He really is getting upset that I'm not paying attention to him. Turning on children's awareness of rhythm patterns, discovering how music impacts and alters a person's emotions, collaborating with other classmates to make music. So I expect and I hope to encourage the children to share their instruments, to collaborate and make sounds together and see how that changes into an entirely different sound. And that's kind of that is how songs are made. And then, let's see here, using creativity to make their own instruments, even if they want to make like something that's not actually an instrument at all. We don't even have language for it, like just kind of combining them and see what they come up with, that creativity. And then grow a deeper understanding and appreciation for music overall. Just really diving into the beauty that music is. And of course, I don't need to get into all the cognitive wonderfulness for them. It's going to be there. And then, how does this nurture creativity? It definitely increases vocabulary for children. Children can work on their own counting skills by counting out the beats, the rhythm of the music that they are making. Children will connect with music, with their emotions, and grow an ability to communicate what they are experiencing or feeling. Children will have room to create whatever instrument they want, real or imagined, and make their music in a unique way. And I think that's it. I'm actually surprised that I'm doing this less than 10 minutes because you guys know me at this point. So yeah, I love this. I really love this investigation. It was super fun to learn about the orchestra, and I'm a little jealous that I don't work in a classroom that I can actually like teach kids the orchestra, because it's pretty exciting. Okay, thanks for listening.